Hello, little fifth graders. Let's learn how to add fractions with unlike denominators. First, let's quickly review how to add fractions with like denominators. To add like fractions, simply add the numerators. Also, make sure your answer is in simplest form. If your answer is an improper fraction, convert it to a mixed number in simplest form. This is a review from 4th grade. You just simply add the numerators when the denominators are already the same. For example, 2/5 plus 1/5 equals 3/5. 2 plus 1 is 3. The denominator stays the same. The answer must also be simplified, and if your answer ends up being an improper fraction, you must change it to a mixed number that is simplified. Now, let's add fractions with unlike denominators. 1/5 plus 1/10. First, you must find the multiples of each denominator. The multiples are simply the products of each denominator. 5 and 10. All you'll do is do 5 times 1, 10 times 1, 5 times 2, 10 times 2, 5 times 3, 10 times 3, and so on. Like I did here. Okay. Next, you will compare the list of multiples and circle the common multiples between the two lists. Find the ones that they have the same. Here, on the list of numbers I have, they have 3 that are the same. But I'm not going to worry about all 3. I'm just going to focus on the lowest number. In fact, when you're making this list of numbers, of this list of multiples, as soon as you find one that is the same, you can stop. You have the one that you need. The lowest is 10. This number is also called the least common denominator. Rewrite the fractions using the least common denominator. So here I have the beginnings of 2 new fractions that have the same denominator. Find the equivalent fractions for 1/5 and 1/10 with 10 as the denominator. You know that 1/10 is equal to 1/10, so put a 1 over the bottom 10. 1/10 is going to equal 1/10, so it will stay the same. Now, as far as 1/5 is concerned, to find the top number, ask yourself, what do you multiply the 5 by to get 10? 5 times 2 equals 10. That's right, 2. Since you are looking for the equivalent fraction, you know the top number must also be multiplied by 2. 1 times 2. To find the top number, just multiply 2 times 1 to get your equivalent fraction, and you have 2. So now I have the 2 new fractions, 2/10 and 1/10. Now just add the numerators. 2 plus 1 is 3. The denominator stays the same. Remember, when adding fractions, you never add the denominators. Let's try another one. Use the shortcut to find the least common denominator, L, or the LCD. Shortcut being, I know that 2 will go into 8 4 times, so 8 is going to end up being my least common denominator. Now find the equivalent fractions of 1/2 and 1/8. Ask, what do you multiply by 2 to get 8, and what do you multiply by 8 to get 8? I know that 2 times 4 equals 8. I know that 8 times 1 equals 8. Since you are writing equivalent fractions, now multiply the top numbers by the same number you did in the bottom. 1 times 4 and 1 times 1. Multiply across. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4/8 and 1/10. Now you just add the numerators. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then you have 8. It stays the same. Also remember to simplify if need be, and to change improper fractions into mixed numbers. 2/5 plus 1/3. Find the common multiples for 5 and 3 and write this number as your new denominator. And they ended up being 15. Ask yourself, what do you multiply the bottom number to get 15? Here, I know 5 times 3 equals 15, and on the bottom, 3 times 5 equals 15. Next step, multiply the top number by the same number you did in the bottom. So I'll do 2 times 3, and I'll do 1 times 5. Multiply across. 2 times 3 equals 6. 1 times 5 equals 5. Now I simply add the new numerators. 6 plus 5 equals 11, and then of course the denominator stays the same, 11/15. Final step, all answers must be simplified. We'll go over that in the practice video. All improper fractions must be converted to mixed numbers in simplest form. We will also go over that in the practice video. And we'll be practicing these fractions in the next video. Last but not least, have a nice day.